Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market. Today guys, many things to say. I will start from Chelsea with some here we go and also more to say on strikers. Many things are happening on the strikers market, and so let's jump into it together. And so guys, here we are with the here we go, because last night I was telling you in my video how the Chelsea priority, despite many stories for the striker position, was to get Liam Delap as new striker, as new option for Enzo Maresca, and also how for Delap Chelsea was the priority because of Champions League football, because of Joe Shields, who is always important for this project and someone who Liam Delap knows very well from Manchester City. And then we have to mention Enzo Maresca. Maresca has been crucial for this story because Delap knows Maresca so well since he was at Manchester City, and so this connection has always been great. I'm also told that when in January Enzo Maresca spoke about Liam Delap in public in a press conference, he spoke very well about the player, and the player was quite delighted with those words in public from a top coach like Enzo Maresca. And so all this mix made the difference for Liam Delap to say yes to Chelsea to play Champions League football, because of course the contract and Champions League football are still big factors, and so the deal is done. Chelsea have today made a direct approach with Ipswich Town to trigger the release clause, £30 million, to prepare the contract of the player. Everything is agreed with Delap, everything is agreed with Ipswich Town. Ipswich gave the green light to Delap for medical test and contract signing. In the next 24 hours, everything should be completed, and then it's gonna be time for the announcement after that. And so Delap to Chelsea is, here we go, a player wanted by Man United. Everton made a crazy proposal to the player, Newcastle were interested, Italian and German clubs too, but Delap will play at Stamford Bridge next season. Let me mention in this context between Chelsea and Ipswich Town, Ipswich have also asked for Marc Guiu on loan. No buy option, no buy obligation, straight loan, 1 season for the boy to play, to have a regular game time. Let's see what Guiu decides, because Chelsea could be quite open to that solution. Chelsea would be happy to send a player in England rather than in Spain, for example, but now he's also on the player, and so let's see what happens with this potential loan move for Marc Guiu to Ipswich Town. On Chelsea, guys, I wanted to clarify something. It's not over yet, because Chelsea already made a big investment on Giovanni Kenda for 2026. My expectation is for Chelsea to pre-sign a mega from parent club Strasbourg this summer for 2026. So close the deal now and let the player join in 2026. So Chelsea are already planning for 2026. But Chelsea will have William Estevao coming this summer from Palmeiras, but Chelsea want to add one more winger, so that remains a priority. Remember that Chelsea love Jamie Bano Gittens at Borussia Dortmund. He's one of the players on the list, not the only one, so he's for sure a player they are considering, but in general, wingers position is something Chelsea want to do, so one more player in that position. And then for the strikers, it depends on the opportunities, because Chelsea remain interested in the situation of Ugo Ekitike at Eintracht. At the moment, is not something advanced. I told you that the Ekitike deal this week, there will be no big changes from what I'm hearing. So for Ekitike, from next week, we will understand more. But Chelsea remain informed on that situation. Also Liverpool. Liverpool are also attentive to the situation of Ugo Ekitike. So these two clubs have already made some contacts to be informed on the situation. Now, Chelsea close their deal for Liam Delap, so they already signed the striker. They have Jackson at the club, Guiu is going to go on loan, Nkunku is going to leave Chelsea this summer, and the idea for Ugo Ekitike is to have more contacts in the next days. So with Chelsea and also Liverpool. Liverpool are obviously busy with Florian Wirtz, with Milos Kerkez, with Jeremy Frimpong. So Liverpool are very busy in this moment. It's not Ekitike joining tomorrow morning, but for the striker position, also with Darwin Núñez expected to leave, because my expectation is still for Darwin Núñez to leave, Ekitike is a player appreciated by Liverpool. And then Benjamin Sesko, guys, because on Benjamin Sesko, what I can tell you today is that Arsenal have started making direct contacts for the Benjamin Sesko deal. So from interest, from appreciating the player, from being highly rated for a long time, because Arsenal wanted him last summer, Leipzig said no, then Arsenal wanted him in the January transfer window, Leipzig said no. So from that situation, big appreciation. Now, management, manager, Mikel Arteta, and all the other people at the club have approved these contacts for Benjamin Sesko. So the conversations are ongoing. Remember that Arsenal have still under consideration also other strikers like Viktor Gyökeres, but for Benjamin Sesko, Arsenal have now started contacts on club side and on player side. So Arsenal are working on the Benjamin Sesko deal in a concrete way now to understand the request of Leipzig, the salary of the player. So the conversation is active now for Benjamin Sesko. And that's an important point because Sesko is one of the most wanted strikers in Europe in this moment because he's going to leave Red Bull Leipzig. Sesko and Xavi Simons are both expected to leave. But for Sesko there is a lot of movement, especially with Arsenal interest. Also other clubs are showing interest in Sesko. So it's not only Arsenal. But the advantage for Arsenal, from what I'm understanding, is that they've already started working on this deal 1 year ago. So you can imagine the appreciation from the player is something very clear, because when you start working on a deal 1 year ago, last summer, then you try again in January, you show how much you want the player. And so for sure, Mikel Arteta is a big fan of Benjamin Sesko, and now Arsenal have started concrete contacts for this deal. So I will keep updating you, but for sure Sesko remains an important option for Arsenal, and Arsenal will be very active on the market this summer. We know about Zubimendi and the new deal for Thomas Partey, and more and more and more. A winger also an important point for Arsenal in this summer transfer window. And then guys, for Manchester City, I wanted to add something on Ryan Cherki, because Manchester City have now started concrete talks to be informed on Ryan Cherki. The interest was there, I told you, Cherki and Gibbs-White, the two main names on the list for the number 10 position, when Florian Wirtz was the dream target, but he's not joining Manchester City. So contacts for Cherki. Contacts for what? On player side, to understand what's the expectation of the player, but also on club side, because Manchester City want to respect Olympique Lyon. There was a lot of stories on the release clause of Ryan Cherki in January, but then Borussia Dortmund tried, and that clause was not something exactly clear or easy to trigger, so the player ended up staying at Olympique Lyon. Now Manchester City want to respect Olympique Lyon, want to have a proper conversation, want to understand how much is the exit fee, so talks ongoing, but Man City will try to get their business done early. So Cherki, Tijani Reinders and all the other targets they have for several positions. At right back they like Tino Livramento at Newcastle, but it's not an easy one. Ait Nouri for the left back position. So City like several players, also the goalkeeper is a topic. They will try to get their business done early in the market, but for sure Manchester City are interested in Ryan Cherki, and now also in talks to understand the conditions of this deal. So another one to follow in the next days. And so guys, let me know your thoughts on all these stories from the Here We Go for Delap. How do you feel about this deal? And also Ekitike, Benjamin Sesko and all the rest, including Ryan Cherki. Your opinion guys, here in comments. Remember to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. See you soon. Ciao.